Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to the first day of our Ready, Steady, Read. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is going to be activities every Monday, Wednesday and Friday for you to try with your little ones over the summer. So to start off with, this is our year one set. You can tell because it's got orange around the edge and it's got year one. So this is for all the children who have finished reception now and are going into year one in September. So the first activities, happy Monday, are blending activities. Now, you will know how important blending is. So we constantly want to be building upon this. And this activity might seem a bit simple if you know that your child is a confident blender, but it's still a great one to do because it will help them not just with their blending skills, which it absolutely will because we're listening for very small units of sound, but it will help them later on with their writing because alliteration, which is what we're going to be doing today, is a big part of writing later down the line and writing for emphasis. So it's still a good one to try. So, Bertha the Bus is one of my favourite activities because you can do it anywhere. You don't just have to do it, you know, while you're sitting down at a table. You can do it while you're out and about. You can do it in the car. You can do it in the bath. Anytime it works. You can start with a rhyme. Bertha the Bus is going to the zoo. What does she see as she passes through? And then you can say to your child, today, Bertha is only looking for animals and objects that start with this sound. So, for example, it might be starts with t. And then you would say, okay, so we're now looking for a table, tortoise, turtle, tarantula, and so on and so forth. Teaspoon, it doesn't have to be animals, it can be anything. Equally, if you wanted to, you can do things that are digraphs, but please make sure you're sticking to sounds, not letters. So for example, if you're looking for something that starts with s, we don't want to say shoe because it doesn't start with s, it starts with sh. So instead we'd be saying snake, snail, spoon, scissors, things like that. If we wanted to do sh, we could say shoes, ship, sheets, etc. But they're two separate sounds. So that's the only thing to be mindful of, is it's not about spellings, it's phonics, so it's the sound, not the letter. If you wanted to do an extension on this, if your child is really, really confident with their alliteration, or you just want them to do a little bit of writing or mark making, you can absolutely give them some post-it notes or a piece of paper and challenge them to write as many things that start with that sound as possible in a minute, for example. Or get them to draw it. Drawing and writing at this point is the same thing. We're just working on those fine motor skills, getting our children used to using those pens, those pencils, and keeping that going over the summer. So if your child would rather draw, great. If they'd rather try and write the word, great. Either is fantastic. But that's our Monday activity. I've already said that alliteration is fantastic for blending, and I've already mentioned when that's useful. I'm going to try and add those in each week as well. So I hope you and your little one have a chance to try this one out this week and you find it really exciting because I love playing this game, and I'd love to know what you think. Hi there, happy Wednesday. So now we've got our physical phonics activity. So we had our blending on Monday. This is now phonics. So this is specifically the letters and the sounds that the letters make. And this is one of my favorite activities because it's so practical, it's so engaging for so many kids. And this one is phonics football. Now you'll notice the video that I've added to this is not me outside kicking a football around because I don't have an outdoor space and I don't have a football. And I think my neighbours would find it a bit weird if I suddenly started kicking against the walls of our house. So instead, I've just used my kitchen door and a I can't remember what it's called now, cotton ball, there you go. But you can use a ping pong, you can use a pom-pom, whatever you would like to use. All I've done is put up the sounds that I want us to work on up around the door. I've put a B and a D so that our kids can work on that if they're getting those reversed or finding them tricky in their heads. And I've put a few digraphs that I know my little ones are working on. All I've done, I've put up my flashcards because I've got them. But if you just have scraps of paper, that works. If you have post-it notes, that works. Whatever you want to do, whatever's easiest for you. You'll notice in the video, it took me maybe 5 minutes to set it up. And then all your child does is, in my case, flick the cotton ball and try and hit the sound. If whatever sound they come closest to, they say what that sound is. It's just a really good way of getting them to practice those sounds. And if you want to make it harder, you can call out a sound for them to then try and hit. That's the aim. Same with a football outside. You just have a slightly bigger goal. You could have more sounds up if you wanted to. If you wanted to use chalk instead, you could absolutely do that. Same thing. But it's great, again, as I say, it's just getting your child to remember those sounds, keep them ticking over the summer. And it's really good for sort of a quiet afternoon. If it's raining, you can do it inside on a kitchen cabinet. If you want your child to go out and do something a bit active, they can do it outside, and you can keep it up as well beyond just one activity, so they can have the option to do it. I mean, that will be up in my kitchen for a while now, so that my nieces and nephews can have a go whenever they come across it. Yeah, so that's everything for today. I hope you find it useful. If you try it, I hope you enjoy it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below as well. Happy Friday! So this one is a little bit more involved in the setup, and I've done a whole video for you so you can see how I've set it up as well. It took me maybe 5 minutes. But if you want to give this one a miss, no problem at all. If you don't have salt on hand or sand on hand or dirt or flour or anything like that, you can use scrumpled up bits of paper. That can be quite good for your little one's fine motor. So if you cut up a bunch of pieces of paper and tell them to scrunch it up, and then you can use that to put it in the tray to hide the letters, that's then great for their fine motor. But ultimately, what you're going to do is you have a piece of paper in the tray that you've written a bunch of tricky words on. If you want to, you can then write those tricky words on a pad of paper so your child can see if they can tick off how many tricky words there are. You're then going to take a glass. I used a measuring shot glass because I find that's the best size, but whatever glass you have is great. Put it on top of one of the letters and cover the rest of it with, I used salt, but you can use flour, whatever's small and you can move around. Then get your child to look through the glass, see if they can see anything, and move the glass around until they can see a word. When they find the word, get them to look at it and mark off which word it is. So you can then make it a thing of which is the most common word. But each time you're getting them to think about what is that word, register that word, find it again on the sheet and tick it off. So it's a really good activity to get them practicing their tricky words and reminding them of what the tricky words look like and speeding them up on their recognition of that as well. Again, this is great for a rainy day. It's a slightly more involved one, but it can keep our kids really focused and engaged. If they end up just playing with the salt and the flour, don't worry, that's great because it's still sensory. You could get them to write the tricky words in the flour or the salt instead, etc. You can always continue to play with this activity after it's finished. Yeah, so that's another one that I add on to. So I hope you found these all interesting this week. I hope if you've managed to try one or two, I hope you've enjoyed them and your little one has enjoyed them. I would love to know your feedback in the comments down below, or hit reply if you're on my email list and let me know there as well. But I'll see you next week for our next set of activities. See you then.